Hello everyone. Today we're going to discuss our research topic, which is applying the phenomenological approach to educational places, a case study analysis of the college experience through time. So the structure of the research will be conducted in terms of introduction, the research focus point, the research dilemma, the research hypothesis, methodology, significance of the research, conveying the result of the research, and discussing and concluding thoughts. Each of us experience the place in a more unique way. That our mind combines between the physical setting, the activities, and the meaning of those activities to create the idea of this place itself. And this relationship to the space is constantly getting reshaped due to the situation of the passage of time itself. Moreover, our relationship changes according to the level of attachment that we have. For example, our level of attachment for a home differs from our attachment to a public space. Each element of space, activity, and time meaning intertwine to create a lasting memory that is carried in the mind of the people themselves. One crucial space that creates these memories is the educational space, as it is one of the spaces that have the long exposure for the student in terms of experience and time. As a student, the memories formed through time of the college art seems to be the strongest and were remembered through their sensory experiences, where the space becomes a location for senses such as smell, taste, or visual senses. However, when a group of people who attended college at the same time gather and they seem to discuss their memories, some memories seems to be altered or they did not remember some of the details. On the contrast, there are some memories that are like overwhelming and they remember it for the smallest detail. One hypothesis for that is the alteration due to the detachment and not experiencing the place in the phenomenological self for a long time, as well as when the focusing of the idea of placemaking and memories are not happening in the space itself. Focusing on the college itself and the university campus, each space has its own several criteria that differentiate it from other spaces. The physical parameter, the activities, and the meaning all combine to create a unique sense of place, a sense of attachment. For the educational spaces, the meaning and the activities are known since it's mostly focusing on learning and meeting and socializing. But what is different is the physical space. The college that we are attending in the Gulf is different from the universities in UK or in the US or any country themselves. So just to give you a glimpse of Town campus, where you can see in the figure that is showcasing how the campus is constructed in terms of the location of the building, the campus is actually hosts two university campuses together. The College of Engineering from the University of Bahrain, which is where I belong, and the other authors as well, and the Bahrain Polytechnic University, which is all occupying the same physical parameter of the space itself. Here are some of the images showcasing some of the highlighted areas of the campus itself. So in the research dilemma, the field of placemaking studies and memory has attracted several researchers and several studies focusing on the memories of the people and the mental images of the space. Nevertheless, the focus was mainly falling on the public space rather than the educational space, as educational space can be considered the third place that a person spends most of their time in it, apart from the place of residence or the workspace or even an entertainment spaces. This research will test the hypothesis by looking at the educational space through a phenomenological sense, by focusing on the memories of the architectural batch students who attended at 2012 and graduated at 2017 and 2018 and did not visit the campuses from that time. The research will focus on understanding the memory of placemaking in the mind of the students, comparing the phenomenological memory of the space in the mind of the student and the physical actual place at the present, understanding what make a place become engraved in the mind of the student. So the methodology will focus on the spatial experience from a phenomenological standpoint through the time in a specific place. A qualitative method will be taken to conduct this research, coupled with using case study method to view the difference between the memory and the physical space itself. In terms of the methodology also, the focus will be on two aspects, which is the first is focus group interview, which will focus on the memories of the students themselves. The interviewer will list the names of the building and see how the conversation goes. And it will be focusing on the sensory aspect that the student evoke through their talking. And the second part will focus on a spatial experience by visiting the college with the focus group and noting down their responses and recording their impressions according to their experience. As we stated, that the student did not visit the college since they graduated. In terms of the significance of the research, it will further develop a significant understanding of the place and place attachment. It will understand the sensory experience from the eyes of the users. It will indicate the more potent sense that the student remember in the space, as well as highlighting the most significant sense that can be influenced in the memory generation in the design of the college campus itself. In terms of the focus group interview, when the memories started rushing in, they mainly focused on the specific situations, where and when and who were around. Each situation were correlated with a space and each memory as well. In terms of the senses, then they started to be rushed in, like the smell, the temperature, the voices, the sounds. Each of them followed the memory, which is focusing on the feel of the space rather than just a visual aspect of the space itself. On the other hand, during the visit, these situations were coming back again when we are looking at the spaces themselves. But here, smaller details stood out, like the splatter of paint, chipped bricks, and tiles due to occur in certain situations. And to them, what was interesting, what they stated, is that time has stopped for them. Like one of them have stated that it has not been 5 years, and I still feel that I am walking around. I will see one of my friends just finishing the lecture and we will meet up. Small smells and textures were the most significant aspect that are brought up more constantly, where they fail to see the larger changes, such as the paint of the building, the removal of certain structures. All of them fade away and they mainly focus on the sensory experience itself. Even looking at two of the pictures, or two of the significant spaces, as is building 33 and building 35, the top picture showcases the building itself, and the bottom picture showcases what is highlighted through their talk in terms of the memory, what they remember, the wooden benches, the greenery, the large tree in building 35. These spaces did not look at it as a full space. They looked at them as certain elements that they remember because a situation has occurred there. More importantly, in terms of the discussion, the sensory experiences overwhelmed the visual standpoint. They focused on the details themselves. The research indicated that there was a detachment causes some details to fade away in terms of the visual sense, but in contrast, the specific sensory experience overwhelms the people and they focus on the most significant. The aspect that stood out here is the memory of the specific atmosphere, hot or cold, or a specific smell or taste that's by it. As the sensory experiences of this place changes, it triggers an immediate response from the user. This detachment increases these senses and dulls down the visual senses, like minor details stood out in terms of the sensory experience. And this is why colleges need to focus on the idea of creating a more sensory experience that will allow people to feel the space and sense them instead of looking at them as a normal place itself. And as time passes, these sensory experiences are more elaborate and more focused on, and the visual senses becomes duller. So that's why the focus will be on the sensory experiences in each spaces. and thank you for listening.